So if you're interested in buying a home and you don't want to get frustrated by the process, you want to be successful, you want to get in that home that you've dreamed of, you really need to understand the entire home buying process, because that will help you set yourself up for success. So that's what we're going to talk about in this short series, and we're going to break this down into 6 different sections. Because just showing up in an open house and saying, oh, that house is awesome, I want to buy that house, that is not the complete picture of what the home buying process is, not by a long shot. So the 6 sections that we're going to break it down into will help you do this in stages and set you up for a successful purchase. Now, I want you to keep in mind that in this market, buying a home is a competition. So we want to be ready to win. Much like when you play a sport, and if you're going to have a season and you want to compete against other people that are out to win, you got to be prepared to win. So the sport of home buying doesn't start at writing your first contract, making your first offer. To be really competitive, you should have a preseason, even a warm-up before the game, and then the game time. So we're going to break it down into preseason, warm-up, and then 4 quarters of your championship game. So our 3 main sections are going to be our preseason, our warm-up, and then game time. Think of the preseason just like you would in a sport. You're preparing yourself for competition. You're going to work out. You're going to run. You're going to practice. You're going to be ready to perform when it comes time to do so. Then when we get into that stadium, that arena, on that field, you need some warm-up. You're almost prepared, but now game time is approaching. So what do we need to do for our final adjustments to be ready to win? That's going to be our warm-up. We're going to talk about how that relates to the home buying process. And then finally, game time. We're going to break game time down into 4 quarters. Because then it's time to play our complete game. It's time for the fun, but it's also the time where we've prepared to execute, and now we got to go out and execute. So let's talk about what executing in a winning way looks like in the home buying process. All right, this is Trigg again. We're here for the preseason. This is where we need to work out. We need to build our muscles. We need to get ready to compete when the season gets here. Okay? Are you ready to compete? If not, I'll tell you how to get ready in the home buying season that you're going to enter. You really got to build 3 muscle groups to be ready for your journey. The first one is our money, our credit, and our income. Okay, for the money, there's a few different things we need to consider here. First of all, there's really 3 different categories that you need to be saving up for. The one that most people think about is our down payment. Now, typically on a conventional loan, that could be 3 to 5% of the value. So think of it this way. If you're looking to buy a $300,000 home, just 3%, that's $9,000 right there. Okay, if you're looking to buy a $400,000 home, then 3% of that is $12,000. And that's really kind of the starting point. Now, there are some possible options for down payment assistance programs, But a lot of times they require very specific stipulations and criteria to meet those. Your lender can help you more with those details, but really you should best be prepared by assuming that you're going to come into this transaction this season with your down payment money. Two other areas we have are our closing costs, and the one people often forget about is our transition or our moving costs. So with our closing costs, we're often looking at 2 to 5% of the home value, and that's for things like title company fees, lender fees. You'll have your appraisal, your home inspection to pay for, taxes, escrow, mortgage insurance. We'll talk more about the mortgage premium insurance as well. And then for the moving side, we think about our movers that we might have to hire, especially if we're long distance, that can get fairly expensive. But also when you move into that home, there's a good chance that you're really going to feel compelled to do some renovations. And maybe it's simple as painting, but maybe there's a water heater that you feel should be upgraded for you to move in, or maybe you need to expand the driveway to fit the cars that you have. So there can be a lot of different expenses with that transition as well, maybe some utility deposits for an example. So we really want to build that money muscle enough to not just get through the transaction, but to be competitive. So think of it this way. If you're coming into an offer on a home that you fell in love with, and you're going to put 3% down, and another buyer is going to put 20% down, and all the other terms are similar to the seller, that 20% down looks quite a bit stronger. So you need to put yourself in the best position that you can to be able to succeed for the house that you want. Now on the income side, obviously when we go to look at a home, we need to be able to afford it. No question about that. But also keep in mind that your lender is going to be looking at what's known as your debt to income ratios, and they're going to consider that to decide how much they're going to approve you for. Also with the income, there's this thing called private mortgage insurance, that if you're under 20% down, you're going to have most likely private mortgage insurance. The better your debt to income, and more importantly, the better your credit score is, the lower amount you have to pay monthly for that private mortgage insurance. So it's another reason to build up our income and also to work on our credit scores. Along with income is just the job history itself. Really, they want to look at 2 years of solid employment history, preferably in the same industry. Now, as you get close to that home buying time, don't go out and change jobs a month or 2 months before. At least have a conversation with your lender before you make any type of big move that can be seen as affecting your finances that way. Okay? Credit score. Stay on top of your credit score. Keep your credit card balances low. One of the ways that credit is scored is a difference between how much is available and how much you actually have on that credit score. So we want to keep that fairly low. Maybe in the 10 to 15% of the available balance is actually on a credit card at any time. Don't close out the credit cards. You should have some lines of credit open. Now, if you're in a apartment or a lease somewhere else, your rental lease is most likely not going to show on your credit report. So that's not a line of credit that you're going to be able to use to say, I pay my bills on time. Car loans, credit cards, those will be indicated on your credit card. At least they should be. On your credit, you should be checking it on a regular basis. The Federal Trade Commission has a site called annualcreditreport.com that allows you to check your credit report. Check all 3 of the different credit report bureaus you should check and verify the accuracy of what's stated. It is very common for there to be errors or things that you need to dispute to get that resolved. You can dispute directly from the creditor and can often get that resolved and get something taken off. I've had it myself multiple times. I had a collection show up a couple of months before we were looking on my credit report. It should not have been there. It was a mistake on the creditor's behalf. Took a little bit of work. We got it disputed. We got it taken off. My credit score came back up. Okay? freecreditreport.com or the government-backed one, annualcreditreport.com. So that's what we need to do to get ready, to feel that we're fit financially and prepared to go into our home buying season upcoming. And so next we're going to talk about what I consider the pre-game warm-up for home buying.